questions that we've been asking ourselves recently is whether this is a male or a female skeleton. We had originally thought that perhaps it might be female because at first glance we thought that there was a broader pelvis, which of course would enable childbearing, and that perhaps the pectoral region was more feminine. But on closer inspection, we realized that what we are examining has many more male characteristics. And what I might do is draw your attention to a couple of these. Look over here, and we've got what's called the sciatic notch. And the sciatic notch is much more constrained in some sense. It's smaller, it's narrower, it comes to a more defined edge. It's not very wide, which is what you would expect with a female skeleton, and so that's one element to consider. Another is over here, what you call the auricular ridge, and it would have been more pronounced for the female, but for the male it tends to be flat. So those are two immediate points of giveaway. And in the case of females, it would be raised, and in the case of males, it would be flat. Now, as you can see, this is fairly flat over here, coming up to a point, almost a ridge over here. And so this auricular surface, again, suggests that this is a male. Another place at which we might look is the skull. And to start with, a female would tend to have a more pronounced pointed chin area, while a male would be squarer. So look at this. What we have is a more squat face over here. It's flatter there. And it's broader, and that again suggests that we might be looking at a male. Another area at which to look is behind the skull over here. The skull itself, but behind what you would find the orbits and where the ear would be, the back of the skull. And we've got what's called the mastoid process. And it would be reduced in females and more prominent in males. And what you can see over here that you've got this proudly positioned and pointing out. So there's your mastoid process. The other point right around here is whether there is the development of a ridge for the attachment of muscles. And you can find that that indeed is true. There's a bulge over there, and it's more pronounced, which is something you would not see with a female. Another point, it may not be as prominent, is with male skulls, they tend to be more sloping, while the female skulls would be straighter down. So there is something of a slope over here, which again points to the fact that what we are examining is a male skeleton. When we had spoken earlier about the possibilities of this being a female, one of our questions was, what is the model? If it were a female, where would you have sourced that skeleton? Now in Travancore, one thing that was not a method of punition was capital punishment for females. And so we wondered that if it were indeed a female, was it sourced differently? And if so, how was it possible to do the kind of extraction, if you will, of the skeleton that would allow for a model to be made from what was the result of that extraction? earlier in this program, you must have heard about why it is that a model was made at all. Because Uttram Tirunalmar Thandavarma was proscribed from working directly on a skeleton, a human skeleton. But what we see over here is quite remarkable, because the unknown craftsman, and we hope that sometime that mystery will be solved, has done a remarkable job of being able to delineate just those elements that point to sexing this particular skeleton. And with these hints, we hope that perhaps you can see just what a marvelous job has been done.